And so tell us about nurture. And the reason I bring that up specifically, and just for a frame of reference, my background is 100% in paid media,
Okay.
programmatic, real-time bidding, algorithmic decisioning. That's all we do day in and
Gotcha.
day out, right? So my favorite business term is programmatic, and I'm
Yep.
probably one of the few people who likes that word. I know it's going away though. But nurture, we've recently expanded just minimally our capabilities to also help really small businesses with kind of like what you're talking about from the perspective of nurturing. So the idea of nurture, I'm still getting used to that frame of reference, because like right, paid media, you can do scale,
Yep.
programmatic and scale. So tell us, I want to learn more about what nurture means to you, and how it's integrated into your business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great question. I think it's to properly nurture and scale, you have to look at inbound and outbound. Outbound being paid, inbound being more education or content focused marketing. And at Wilton, we do both. I've really helped build both the last 3 years, but nurturing is a combination, I would say, of both channels smartly being employed. So on the inbound side, it might be more smart, like email segmentation, right? Where you have someone that signs up for your email list and you're engaging with them based on their behaviors and based on their interactions with your brand. On the paid side, it might be more like remarketing, which is probably what you're more familiar with, right? And staying in front of them smartly at the right frequency, at the right times, with the right creative and messaging. And you kind of, at Wilton, we combine those two things, and really just present the brand in a very smart way with the right content on trend, and the right media, ideally, at the right time. And that's really how we build that sustainable, that path to purchase. I don't think you can really do one or the other, really. I think if you want to retain and build that, I'm sure you've heard of customer lifetime value, build that customer lifetime value, I think a brand needs to invest in both.
So is it really about being in front of the consumer on a consistent but not annoying basis?
Yeah, I'd say it's being relevant.
Yeah.
It's staying relevant, right? And relevancy isn't annoying. Right? If you're relevant, it's meaningful and helpful. And if the frequency is too high, or the content isn't the right fit, you hear another term that you're hearing around a lot these days is personalization. And that's another, I would say, buzzword that's been kind of, I don't want to say blown out of proportion, because it is important, but what does that mean, right? What does personalization mean for a brand? And part of it really starts with the audience and understanding your audience on an intimate level, and the content you serve. The activation levers, whether they're inbound or outbound, are more tactical, right? And that's more timing. So it's really doing what I always say is putting your lab coat on, doing the homework, and really understanding your audience so you can be relevant. And at the end of the day, I really believe passionately that good marketing is helpful, right? It's not noise, it's helpful, and it's in service of not just the brand, but in service of your audience.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the LA Business Podcast. If you like what we're doing on this podcast, please consider subscribing on Apple or Google Play, leaving a 5-star review, and sharing with your friends. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations for a guest you'd like to hear on this podcast, please email me, robert@brillmedia.co. Thank you. Have a fantastic day.